We are live. Hopefully everybody out there's having a great night. Really looking forward to this one tonight because, and I'll bring up why here shortly, but yes, next, this is how I hate when I point. Storage Finds, how are you?
Pretty good. How you guys?
Good. It was, every time I'm always pointing, and I'm like, I should know by now just to point opposite. See, I did it again, but.
I do that a lot in the videos myself when I'm filming, and I'm like, you can see it right here, and I do like 4 different takes so that it sticks.
or whenever I say, okay, I'm gonna put the link up here, but then I point somewhere that I don't have any room to put that link without blocking my face. So it happens all the time. I put your link up above. I pinned it, so if you guys haven't followed them, go follow them. You guys are gonna learn so much by watching it. I learned. I mean, it's just storage units to me are, and we'll get into it, but I think everybody has watched like Storage Wars.
Yep.
So, but it's even better than that. If you guys have any questions, just let us know. Ed's here. Ed's going to be the guest next Wednesday also. So come back next Wednesday. Mile High Hustlers, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. The first thing I am going to bring up though, and I realized it, I somehow missed it, but you won the reseller link, the card last time from the Hoogs. I was bidding against you.
Yeah.
It
was a fun thing. Yeah, it was a fun thing. To me, it was the story behind it was actually pretty cool. Just how it came to be. And so I was going to win it no matter what. So it's a good thing you stopped, because I probably would have gotten it way higher.
It was funny because when I first started bidding, I was like, okay. And I don't know if you bid the whole time or if you waited till the end, but I was kind of bidding, and I kept going. And I was like, finally at one point, I was like, I think I put in like $85. I was like, there's no way. The next thing I know, I was out bidding. I was like, hold on. Then I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop at 100, and that's when I quit at 100. So I don't know who was bidding.
I think my high bid on it was 500. I think is what I put on it. I said, to heck with it, we'll do it.
Yeah,
but yeah.
If you would have lost it at 500, more power to whoever won that. Because I'm gonna keep an eye on it for the next time. But I got sniped, and it was I was shocked, and I was like, who seriously beat me? That was kind of like too what happened. Rachel Strickland did the potato chip, and I was bidding on that, and it was like $40 on a potato chip, and I'm like, I hope somebody outbids me at this point, because my wife's going to kill me if I get a potato chip in the mail for $40.
Well, see, what I did for that auction was I bid. I think I was bidding up to, I had it at 500, but just in case at the last, I think it was like 10 seconds, I bid higher.
Okay.
So I overbid myself, so that if somebody tried to bid 510, I would still beat them. So
you were good. Cap Guy and JT's here. Thanks for no problem. I still haven't said anything about our fantasy football league, and because you wanted to talk smack early on, but I'm making that comeback, so I just took over the 4th place there. Patrick Murphy, thanks for stopping by. So I've heard you say it a couple times. Storage. So was Storage Wars really fake?
For the most part, they always implanted things. There's a couple of episodes where they talk, and a couple of interviews with some of the people that have been on it, and they always added something to make it exciting. For the most part, and the bidding a lot of the times was, you notice that in most of the shows it's just them winning, even though they've got a whole bunch of people around them.
That's true.
And people are bidding, they never win. Once in a while they had to do it so that people would see and believe that it was real. I mean, I think that 90% of it is real, but I think they added that extra 10% to make it Hollywood,
Yeah, to get people to keep watching every week, because who's going to keep coming back? And like Ed just said, the ratings. Yeah,
yep.
It's true. I wish somebody would come up with a reality show of people going to Goodwill and thrift stores and stuff. That'd be kind of cool.
There's one that just came out on Netflix. I don't know if you've seen it. It's called Swap Shop.
No.
It's basically, I don't know where in the US, but there's like a radio station that people listen to, the Swap Shop, and they basically say, we have this, this, and this that we want to sell. And then they show up to it, and they're basically like thrifting and trying to get stuff. It just came out, I think, on Netflix. It's called Swap Shop.
That's interesting. Hey, Veronica, thanks for coming by. Ed said, now that I've been reselling for a good while, I can see most of those storage are fake. That is kind of true. Like I didn't even think about them winning every time, but every time they bid on a unit too, there's always something good in there.
Right.
I mean, we haven't bought any storage units yet, so we're hoping to in the near future, because I actually just found out that a family friend of ours is a manager at a storage unit facility.
Yeah.
And she was posting online, I guess, I don't know, I don't know what app it was, whatever they were using, but they were auctioning off 2 storage units. And I was like, man, I should probably bid on these. But it's just like, I couldn't pull the trigger just yet.
Well, I mean, it's the reality is like I said last night, that you guys do things a little different where you control your inventory. So you have the ability to know what your cost of goods are, what your actual items are. You don't need a lot of space. You in a big unit, you end up with 80, 100 boxes. You got to go through those boxes. You've got to separate the trash. You've got to separate the stuff that's donatable. You've got to figure out what each individual item. So like you go thrifting, you might get 10 things. So it's going to take you 20, 30 minutes to figure out what those things are worth, list them, and be done with it. I go through a unit and I'll find 1,000 things. And the thing is 3 days later, I've got to go bid on another unit. So I've got literally that small window to go through those things. If not, it sits until I get back to it.
True.
So there's pros and there's cons.
And I think too, once I start to get into it, I'm going to look at it. I can't go big units. I can't go these huge packed ones. But if we do pick a small one, that'd be great because we can work into it. So, and I know a couple places around here too, like the couple of the storage unit places, that U-Haul, if you rent one of their trucks, you get a free month.
Right.
So that could help getting some stuff, moving it into there, and then trying to get through it and try to get it listed and sold super quick. But we all know how.
See, the thing is there's a lot of different ways of doing it though. There's people that I know that will literally post things while they're still in that unit.
Yeah.
And they'll get people to come meet them there and sell it right from inside the unit. So you never even have to move it. So, I mean, there's a lot of different ways of doing it. You don't necessarily have to take everything out and go sell it. You could basically, if you have that unit at that same facility, most of the time you can say, I want to rent the unit for X amount of time or for a month. And it might cost you another $100. Let's say if it's a 5x5, but then you have literally that time that you can literally post as you're going through stuff and literally start selling right out of the unit. So there's a lot of ways. It's just a matter of, I think from my perspective, the hardest part is that I have to record the entire thing. So I don't have the luxury of just saying, I'm going to get to that box later. I got to go through it now.
Yeah. You have to get through it to get that video. Right. Then you can go through it.
Right. And there's lots of times where I open up a box and I'm like, I'll open it for a second time and I'm like, wow, this is cool. Oh yeah. Oh no, what is this? And I start going through it and it's a completely new adventure because I completely forgot about it,
Yeah. That's crazy. So what was the biggest unit you've ever bought?
I'd say I had a 25 by 10.
Okay.
That was literally packed. The most craziest one that was most packed was probably the Hoarder unit. Okay. That one was just insane. It literally took me I think it was 2 months that it literally took me to clear it out because there was so many things in there. It was literally packed all the way to the top, and it was kind of like they were playing Jenga because they were like putting boxes and things on top of each other, and then like headboards to basically hold space, and then this weight here to put another box. It was just insane.
That's nuts. Now, do you normally purchase the storage units that you do not know what's in it, or will you purchase the one where you'll see a list of what's in it?
So I've done both. I tend to go more for the surprises.
Okay.
I'll look at what's ahead of me as far as what I can see in the pictures, but I'll price those things out, and that's kind of my driving factor as to what I'm going to spend on the unit. But then I tend to go more for like boxes or like family units, because then you can actually go through stuff and you have a lot of content and material, and you tend to find the crazy stuff. Like in one particular unit, in a box that was labeled bathroom, it was literally full of junk. I found a Tiffany necklace. So it's like, you literally have no idea what you're going to find until you literally go through every little piece of every little thing.
Yeah, I think it's something we might have to try come spring, because with the weather up here, wintertime is just not.
Yeah.
Wintertime would not be a fun time to be out in the storage unit going
Oh
through
yeah.
this. Unless it's a climate controlled one, then we're talking. But I don't know how many they do with that. So
Right. Well, I
might
mean,
just stop by.
it's one of those things that, most of the time in storage units, you're going to at least double or triple your money. You might have some units that are just crazy. I don't know if you ever watched Locker Nuts, but he
Mm-mm.
found a unit a month or 2 months ago that was literally insane. The guy who owned it used to work for Apple back in the day. And I think he's got like over $1 million worth of inventory in that unit. It's just insane.
Wow.
Yeah, he actually had somebody message him and say, I think they offered him like 150 grand to just walk away as is. And it was insane. So you do find them, but for the most part, you're basically aiming to double, triple your money. And, in some cases more, like, the hoarder unit. Um, I don't know, I did at least 6, 7, 8 times my money when it was all
Yeah.
said and done.
Yeah, because I was actually looking at one today, and they kind of listed like, oh, here's what's in it, and there was like the main thing was Nintendo GameCube, and it's like, well, that thing might not even work too. And I know you mentioned it last night where some places will take stuff from one unit to the other and do
Right.
stuff like that, and that's kind of like, I think I would be more like you and want to do the surprise unit because you don't know
Right.
what's in there.
Yeah, and I mean, and keep in mind that, most of the units I buy are between 100, 200, 300 tops.
Yeah.
Unless I see something big like a four-wheeler or, a really big, gigantic safe, which I know the safe I'm going to at least get 500, 600 for, I'm not going to take that gamble and go that much because it
Correct.
really doesn't make sense to. But, if you spend $200 on a unit and you make $1,000, really not going wrong.
Yeah. So do you have a place that you can store a lot of this stuff once you clear out the units?
I have 3 warehouses.
Okay. So
Um,
that helps you. That works out well then. So
Yeah.
you
The
can get
thing
these.
is that a lot of times I run out of space inside those warehouses. So I've got to literally go through my own inventory and do some cycling and moving so that I make enough room for one more unit. And then I go through and I do it again for one more unit. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So what platforms do you sell on?
So I sell primarily on eBay.
Okay.
I'm looking at Mercari. I've never done it. I sell on Amazon. I sell on Facebook Marketplace. Some local ones like OfferUp and stuff like that. And believe it or not, Craigslist.
Okay. Yeah, I mean Craigslist, we still find deals on there, and we'll start. I feel like we use Craigslist more in the winter with our yard sales and stuff dying down. Macari, I've never had a sale on there, so I don't know. Like
I hear good sides and I hear bad sides. I
yeah,
mean,
Ed
I
just said
think
he had
like,
his first local sale today on Macari, so I've never had a sale on there, and I've had stuff listed. I've had stuff listed. It's kind of like eBay. But I'm like, I had stuff listed way lower than everybody else, and it just can't sell. Now, Poshmark,
right.
different story. We've had some good stuff on there, so it's
So I'm trying Poshmark because I have a lot of clothes. I
that's what
literally
we
have
sell.
bins upon bins upon bins of clothing, and I think I've sold maybe a dozen things on Poshmark. Um, to me, Poshmark feels more like a social network than a selling platform. So it's like,
Yes,
people are adding things and sharing things, and they add you to your closet, and it's like, just buy something.
just get it, and I'll ship it to you. I don't
Yeah,
like, and we do a lot of shoes on there. When we do list shoes, that's where we list them. And women's clothing seems to do way better than men's for us.
yeah,
But it's I don't like their shipping because a shirt that I can ship first class, they're getting charged $8 to ship it priority mail. So
yeah.
if it's a bigger item, a heavy coat or something like that, it's a different story for me. But that's the one thing I don't like about it. Mike wants
Yep.
to know: are you a one-man show?
I am. So one of the questions that was asked me yesterday is what made me want to do storage units. So the original concept behind it was my sister has always wanted to have a thrift store. And so the easiest way to get a lot of inventory quick was basically to buy storage units. So we delayed that because of her job. She's going to basically start at the beginning of summer. But right now I'm basically doing everything. I'm doing the bidding, the buying, the picking up, the moving. I do have help once in a while. In some of my videos, you'll see Bill, who's my stepfather, and he'll basically come in and help, and we'll go through stuff together. But for the most part, pretty much 99% of it is just me.
There you go. And you are part-time, correct?
Correct.
Now, are you thinking about going full-time at some point?
See, the problem is that I am a software engineer, and
Okay.
so that's kind of been my career for 20 plus years. And so money-wise, it doesn't justify it because I make a lot more writing software than I would make in this unless I literally go like insane full-time. And I own other businesses. So it's like, I started this kind of like as a fun hobby. And I always joke around because I say that I don't go to the gym, but storages are my gym because I'm always lifting and moving stuff. So it started as a hobby. Now, I know that people in my family are now wanting to like join and start, like we want to open up another like selling warehouse and like a storefront. So if it gets to that, maybe, but for right now, nah.
And that's the way I feel. I looked at it and it's like, for me to make what I would need to on eBay, I just couldn't do it. And
Yeah.
I do like my job. There's some days it's just like everything else, but I've been working in this field for over 20 years also, and it's just like eBay is a hobby to me. And I feel if I go full time, it's not going to be fun and it won't be a hobby.
Right.
Because hey, if there's a week that I don't list anything, I don't have to worry about eBay paying my bills.
Right.
So,
But I think that like for me, where I want to get to in the long run is I want to be a YouTuber. I don't want to be a reseller. Like I want my
sure.
focus to be on the channel and having fun and going through units and then I want to have people that go through and sell everything. You know what I mean? Like for me, there's two types of YouTube channels. There's the people that focus on the reselling, but they have a channel so that you can experience their journey. I want to do it more on the aspect of the show and just have fun and just, experience the fun side of it.
I never
So,
thought of that.
yeah.
That's a good way of putting it, though. Mike, my shirt is not vintage. This is probably this year, but it looks vintage and I like it. That's all that matters. Ed said, Macari, you have to either promote or relist constantly or consistently because your listing can get buried in the listings quick. See, and I don't like, yeah, I like to list and forget it and sometimes go and end it and whatnot. But yeah, Macari's just not my thing. Mike loves his job, but he's not making the money. That's how it usually goes. So, what was your craziest find in a unit, other than the Tiffany necklace? But because you've probably found some crazy stuff.
I have found all kinds of different things, to be honest. Craziest as far as value or craziest as far as the item is just crazy?
Let's do both.
Okay. So craziest item, I would probably say, and I mentioned this yesterday, there's a cowboy unit that literally had all kind of Native American things. And one of them was a stick that had an animal head on it and then like turkey feathers all basically around it. And when I pulled it out, I was like, what is this? You know what I mean? And so I used Google Lens. I couldn't find it. And I'm like, is this good luck? Is this bad luck? Is this just, so I was like, I don't, so that's probably the craziest thing. I mean, I found other things that never really make it to the camera. One unit was full of adult toys, for example. And I really didn't want to go through them on camera.
Yeah.
But as far as items and stuff, I mean, I find a lot of jewelry. I find a lot of artwork and autographs. There was my very first unit. I didn't record it because I wasn't doing videos yet.
Yeah.
That unit was just insane. I mean, I found a binder this big full of Pokemon cards that, I mean, there's probably 4,000 of them in this, So that one was pretty cool. There were some big cards in there that were expensive. I found restaurant equipment usually sells really well. So, I mean, it just depends. Most of the items you tend to find, like you'll go through a unit, you'll spend $200
Yeah.
and literally my cost of goods is literally going to be maybe 15-20 cents an item. So when I turn around and I sell that item for $500, the percentages are just insane. You know what I mean? Now, the most memorable, awesomest unit is there's a unit in my channel that is called the pod unit. And it's basically, it was all Civil War and World War II memorabilia. And there was all kinds of cool things in there. I mean, swords, there was knives, there was rifles, there was guns. It was just all over the place. It was a pretty cool unit.
I'm gonna have to go back and find that one.
Yeah, that one I think is my highest viewed video. I think it has like 20,000 views on it. It's pretty cool.
That one sounds cool. We like going out to Gettysburg and stuff. So the history's really cool. Mike also wanted to know: did you ever find drugs in the units?
I've never found actual drugs. I found residue and other paraphernalia of drugs. One unit I had was a big toolbox, and inside of it there was a whole bunch of like pipes and bongs and but I've never actually found like a brick, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. And he said, what did you do with all the sex toys?
A lot of them were unopened, so they were sold, and the other ones
he said
the other ones I threw away.
Because that's a lot. Those things sell for a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yes, that was when wrestling was good.
The one thing that I tend to find a lot of is like the CPAP machines. And those actually, you can't sell them, but there's companies that literally will buy them from you so that they can refurbish them. And
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so they'll buy them from you and then they'll refurbish them and then they will resell them as refurbished. So you can sell them through there, but it's literally a process. You have to fill out a form. You've got to explain how you found it, where you found it, blah, blah, blah. They go through it. You send it to them. And then like 2-3 weeks later, you get a check for that machine. So, you might find a CPAP machine and, you might make 200, you might make 1,500. You really don't know until they get it.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever bought one. So, Barter Mania, how are you? Thanks for stopping by. So how far will you travel for a unit from where you're at? Because I think are you in Miami?
I'm in Orlando.
Okay. Your sister's in Miami, right?
The farthest,
Your sister's in Miami, right? That's where you guys were thinking about. Okay.
Yeah, she's in Miami. She's going to be moving to Orlando so that we can do it here because the Miami market's a little bit different than the Orlando market. Okay. So, here you're more centralized. But in most cases, I tend to go a maximum of say 2 hours. I sometimes look further simply because, Florida more this way as opposed to this way.
True.
But, we do 2 hours at the most. The farthest I've gone is probably Crystal River, a little bit north of Crystal River, which is about 2 hours, 2.5 hours away, depending on how you go. So I'll look further, but I tend to want to keep it closer. I've bought units that are literally down the street, and I tend to kind of stay in the Orlando, Daytona, Tampa area for the most part.
Okay. What sites do you use when you find? Because I think there was only one that I knew of.
So there's a few different sites. So storagetreasures.com is probably the most popular one. That's what they use on like Storage Wars and all that. So that's kind of like the big site. That's the Amazon. There's storageauctions.com, which is going to be a little smaller, but it's got quite a few. There's lockerfox.com. There's bid13.com. I'm actually working on a site myself right now called storagebids.com, which I'm probably like 95% of the way to launch it. Okay. And that'll basically be kind of like those types of systems, but a little bit more interactive between the sellers and the buyers and the buyers and the buyers and the sellers and the sellers. So taking a different kind of approach to it. But the reality is Storage Treasures kind of controls 95% of the market. And so that's literally where you need to focus if you want to find a lot of different units.
Yeah,
the best units I have. Sorry, I was going to say the best units I have found have always been on storageauctions.com. Those are the ones that have the better quality items.
Okay. Yeah, I'm definitely going to check it out. And I know you just mentioned it too about how your cost of goods. What is your average cost of goods on a unit? Because if it's packed, it's going to be super low per.
Right. I mean, if you figure I pay, like, let's say the pod unit, I paid, I think, $90 for that unit. And inside of it, I've already sold maybe $12,000 worth of product off of that unit. So if you take the actual items, let's say I found 1,000 items and it cost me $90, do the math.
Yeah. I mean, and not everything in that unit is going to be sold, but still, I mean, you're hoping that majority of that stuff can be resold, because then
And again, it depends on the unit. Right. It depends on the unit. I mean, you can look at a unit and say, there's a TV. I know I'm going to get X amount. There's a, exercise machine. I know I'm going to get X amount. There's a dresser. There's a this. There's a that. So you can kind of get some numbers as to what you're going to get. So if you can get a unit for $100 and you're going to make at least 600, you're already in the profit. So even if you take those items as your cost of good, the other items are free. So your cost of good is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think I'm gonna have to try this out, because it just seems like where we're at. I see them on, I forget what site I was on, but I have seen the auctions. It's like I wanted to pull the trigger, but it's just like, how much do I go at the beginning? Just do I try out $100 unit and then get the feel for it that way? And
what I would suggest to you is focus on a 5x5.
Okay.
A 5x5 is going to be small enough that you can just literally put it inside of a pickup truck or a small trailer, and it's easy to maintain and it's easy to store. So you can get a 5x5. Depending on where you live, furniture, yes or no. I tend to find that furniture makes a lot of money if it's good furniture or if you have the time to restore it. If it's not, and it's just like, the cheap stuff, you're still going to get something out of it. But I tend to find that most of the time I'll donate it and then I'll just use that for taxes. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think that would be something too, that to sell right from the storage unit while you're doing it. Maybe people will come pick it up.
Right. Yeah. I mean, Facebook, that's literally, I've sold the majority of the furniture that I have either on Craigslist or Facebook. And literally when I post a dresser, and I'll tend to go on the cheap side just because my cost of good is so low. I'll say, let's say a dresser, I'll put it for $40-$50 just to get rid of it. And I literally have somebody there within 20 minutes. If I took the time and I did all that, I could probably get $200-$300 for it. But literally, I sell a lot to resellers. So they'll literally come and they'll buy $200-$400 worth of things because they know they're going to turn around and sell it for $800-$900. So I do it a lot of the times to kind of work with them, but at the same time, because I know that there's going to be repeat customers every single day. Like I'll post things and it's literally the same 20-30 people messaging me going, hey, I want that.
Is that, or at least it's good that you have it to where you can move it and then you don't have to worry about storing it. So that's another, and that's what I don't know how, I mean, how many units do you buy in a month down there?
So it varies. My average is usually 2 to 3 units a week. Sometimes I'll buy 4 or 5 in a week. It really depends on what's out there. The biggest challenge in storage units is that I might bid on 6 units and I might win 3 of them. And then by the time I pick it up, 1 might be canceled. So I might end up with only 2. Because just because you win the unit doesn't mean you get the unit. You have to go literally pay for it before it belongs to you. So if I win a unit right now, what that storage facility is going to do is they're going to contact that person and say, hey, you lost your unit. If you come in and pay half your bill or you pay this, we can cancel that. You can get your stuff back. So you literally have that small window where you don't even know if you have it yet. See what I'm saying?
I know that.
Yeah. So you basically show up, you pay for it, and at that point, it belongs to you. So a lot of the times, like the units that are really big or that I really know that there's going to be stuff in there, I'll literally drive out to the facility and I'll win the unit and I'll walk in so that they don't have the time to do that. But
that's interesting.
Yeah.
And I know you said something last night too that I didn't know this, that if the unit sells for more than what the person actually owes, they should be paying the people in that unit, which I did not know that. I thought, hey, they get whatever is over it.
Technically, there's a whole entire thing of lien laws that exists for each individual state that dictates when a unit can be sold, what the process is. Like you're going to see some storage units that are basically sold and it'll say nothing in the unit is for sale, but they have to go through the entire process, which is an actual live auction, to be able to get rid of the goods. But those laws also say things like, if you're not to profit from this, you're to recuperate the money that you've lost or that is owed to you. So technically, they're supposed to refund the difference back to the individuals because they're not supposed to profit. They're just supposed to get the money that the individuals couldn't pay. But each facility is different, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Now, will you ever try to reach out to any, if you find you find personal items probably in every storage unit. Now, do you try to
Right.
ever reach out to the families?
So most of the personal items that I find, I tend to, like, most of the facilities will tell you that you have to leave those behind. So what I'll do a lot of the times is, as I'm going through stuff, I'll have a section that is just specifically to go back to them. So before I leave the facility, I return all of those items so that they can give them back to the people. In some
Okay.
cases, I might miss things, or I might, as I'm searching through and I'm going through, I might identify things and I might look them up to see what the reasoning was why they lost the unit. You'll find things in these units like, court documents, or you might find social security cards, or you might find, IDs and stuff like that. So a lot of times you look up to see what it is. I had one particular unit. I think I mentioned it yesterday, that the individual that lost it was going through medical, is fighting cancer. And so he lost the unit because of that. And so he had reached out to the facility asking if I could at least give him back his personal pictures, which I would have done anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But I ended up reaching out and I ended up getting him all his stuff back and then helping him with other things, simply because there's a difference. And I didn't pay my bill because I just didn't want to pay my bill, and I couldn't pay my bill. And so there's a lot of units that I've actually returned back, simply because it was the right thing to do. So
Yeah, I mean, like you just said, family member sick and stuff, and that's the last thing on your mind is paying your storage unit bill, or hey, somebody goes to jail for something that they shouldn't have done, then they lose it. It's a big difference.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the thing is that one of the things that for me, it's that it's about the people behind the unit. You look at some of the other channels that exist in Facebook that or in YouTube that are bigger, and it's always about the story. It's always understanding why the people lost it. And I try to do that some in my channel, but I try to also keep it a little bit more factual, or more about the actual show. I don't want drama and I don't want that type of stuff. And so a lot of the times you look at the other channels and it's like, they tried to come to the unit and beat me up. They didn't. But you find some things in these units. Like, there was one unit which I called the divorce unit, that literally I'm going through this, and everything in this unit, there was one item. So, like, instead of a pair of shoes, there was one shoe. Okay. And so afterwards, after I cleaned out the unit, I went up to the lady that was at the front desk and I said, so has anybody been in that unit? And she goes, well, we're not supposed to tell you, but I guess they were going through a divorce and the guy broke in and went through it and took one of everything because he wanted half. Well, one of the things he did, which kind of pissed me off, was he found the lady's mother's remains and splattered it all across the unit. So I literally took a broom and dusted it all up and put it back in the container and gave it back to them to give it back to the people. But literally, you find all kinds of crazies when it comes to storage units, but it's fun.
Yeah, I think I would like it because it's just the thrill of the hunt. It's what are you going to find in here?
Yeah.
Because
Oh yeah.
I can only imagine just what's in some of the. I mean, I just can only imagine what's in some of those units, and
Yeah.
I definitely think we're gonna have to give it a try. I'm gonna reach out to the person that I know because it's like kind of say, hey, give me a heads up because where they live at, it's probably about an hour drive, so I'd have to make sure to get it back here because I can always go rent a truck and whatnot, and
Yeah,
I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be something cool to try, and it might save me from sourcing so much, especially.
I mean, if nothing else, you get a video out of it, right?
Correct, and sometimes that's the thing. It's like, man, I gotta get a video and get some ideas because there's just so much, and I think that'd be fun. Actually, I think the kids might have fun going through some of those units too.
Yeah. So the pizza unit, one of the things I found in that unit was a whole bunch of scooters, like electrical powered scooters that,
Yeah.
So if you find stuff like that, you're going to have the kids running around the parking lot with the little scooters.
Correct. Yeah, they'll be wanting to keep everything too. Michael stopped by. How are you? Thanks for swinging by. U-Town bought it and gone. Thanks for coming by. Yeah, that is pretty crazy, especially throwing somebody's remains throughout a storage unit. But
yeah.
Have you ever had anybody come up to the unit as you were cleaning it out that it was their unit?
So in the Hoarder unit, I paid for the unit and I went to the unit. And when I came out, because I just literally put the lock because I wasn't going to do any shooting that day. And as I was coming out, I was going to go into the office to talk to the lady. And they stopped me at the door because the lady was inside trying to pay for the unit and creating a whole entire ruckus because she wanted her unit back. One of the things they told me is that the lady, they'd been trying to get rid of her for almost 2 years. And literally at the last moment, she'd come in and save it every single time. But it was more how she was towards them. She was aggressive and all this other stuff. And so she was like, stop, because we don't want to cause drama. But literally, I think that's about the closest I've ever gotten.
Okay. Yeah, because I can see people being mad that their stuff just got sold. But
yeah, I mean, the reality is you have 3 months of notices.
Yeah,
It's not like one day your stuff just disappears. It's you literally have 3 months and they call you like 80, 100 times. So it's not like it's a shocker. And you also, like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the times the facility will do everything to try and save your items, but you don't answer your phone, or you can't answer your phone, or you just disappear.
What are they supposed to do? They have to get rid of it because they're losing money for these
Right.
storage units. That's one
I
thing
mean,
I wish.
I was gonna say,
It's one
think
thing,
about it. You
yeah.
don't pay your mortgage, what happens?
They take your house, or you're same
Yeah,
with
you
your
don't pay
car. You
your
don't
car
make your car
payment.
payment.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the one thing I wish I would have did years ago was actually built some storage units up somewhere, because it is such that there's. I was actually in the business that we designed storage units for a while, and it was like, I
Right.
mean, this was 10 years ago, and it's like even before that, but it was just like, man, you don't need much property. Put a concrete pad. These storage units are not that much to build, and it's
Yep.
just they're money makers, really.
Yeah, it's 50% profit over year.
Yeah, because
That's the general. You might spend $200,000 building it, and then you
yep.
have one person that works for you. And if you set up an apartment somewhere in it, you give them free room and rent, you're literally paying them nothing.
Yeah, and really, and a lot of the ones that are around here don't even have somebody working at them.
Right.
It's
Yep.
just a couple rows of storage units. I don't even think they have even electric there. So
Right. I mean, I think the difference is if you put a gate and you put cameras and electric in one person, you can charge
yeah,
twice the amount.
that's true too. That's a good point. Yeah,
So if
I
you,
don't know if we really have any of those. But I know they have the gates, and I know we moved back home. We used a storage unit, and there was somebody in. Really, I don't know if they were ever in the office, but you drive up, you punch your code in, get to your unit. So
yep.
yeah, it worked out. But you can really
Yeah.
pack a storage unit too. That's what. Yeah, I definitely think
I
we're
know.
gonna.
I take stuff out all the time. I'm going insane. Like, who would have put this box here?
Yeah, it's. I just. Yeah, it's just. I mean, you go to Goodwill and Source, and it's like, okay, what are you going to find? But really, that is a huge mystery with the storage unit, and it's kind of like almost to me it would be better because I bet you can. I feel like you're going to find something good almost every time.
I think 95% of the time. There's some times that you literally, usually with staged units, but there's times where you might not find anything valuable, but if you literally can find 20, 30 things, in most cases you're going to at least get your money back. I mean, I've gotten a lot of units. Like I have 2 videos where I paid $20 for this unit, for each individual unit. It took me literally 20 minutes to load the trailer, and by the time I drove from that facility back to mine, I'd already made $500. Literally, I had people waiting outside my facility to buy the items that I had. As I pulled in, I made, and then if you look at the pod unit, I paid $90 for that unit. When I opened the door, the guy that worked at the facility told me, he goes, if you find coins, I want them. I opened the door and there were coins sitting right there. And he goes, $100. Let's go. So I made $100 just opening the door on a $90 unit, which turned into a $12,000+ unit with all the things that I found. So it's like, it's insane. It's literally insane, but it's a lot of work. I'm not going to tell you that it's easy.
No,
There's a lot of boxes. There's a lot of sorting. There's a lot of, So it's a trade-off. Like what you guys do, I watch your videos, and to me it's fun because you're like, you get to experience the individual things, and you get to, when you get 10 things, you can experience those, and you can actually like take the time. Like with me, it's so many that it's hard for me to say, oh, this is cool. It's like, oh, this is cool. Well, wait, this is cool too. Oh, this is cool too. I feel like, that dude in Ice Age chasing the nut all the
Yeah.
time,
Yeah. So I mean, how long have you been reselling and doing storage units?
So I've been reselling pretty much all my life, but seriously reselling probably since like 2001, 2002.
Okay.
Storage units, I think I bought one when I was younger just for fun, but seriously started this year. So my channel started in May, so maybe
Yeah, I think
March.
I think we started about the same time
Yeah.
with both of ours, and I mean, but we were the same way. I've been reselling on eBay since probably about 2000, if not a little bit sooner.
Yep.
Almost. I mean, when I was selling on eBay, it was you got a check or a money order at that time.
Yep.
So, but I've really adjusted to what we have sold over the year, especially within the past year. We went more towards hard goods, but we were more sporting goods and autographs and stuff like that. So
Right.
we've made the huge change. But I honestly said it. I told my wife, I was like, man, I wish we would have started this channel 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because it would have been, but honestly, I never thought somebody would watch this stuff.
Yep. It's like funny because I think a question I had yesterday was, your channel is growing so fast. Did you picture? And I said, not really. My mentality was that a year later I was going to literally sit there and watch myself.
Yeah, and I sometimes I told my daughter today, I said, hey, why don't you go watch some of our videos? And she goes, it's boring. I was like, it's when we started this, that's what I said. I was like, we're gonna have like 2 subscribers, and it's gonna be us. That's it. And it's that then you start to do it, and that's why we like doing the lives, because you interact with the people who watch your videos, and you might find out somebody watches from Australia, and it's like, hold on, somebody's taking their time out of their day to watch you.
Yep.
But it's
When I
not
look at
easy.
when I look at my stats, the majority of the people on my channel, like I think it's like 18 or 19%. So one of the highest brackets is Jamaica.
Really?
Yeah. And then after that, I have a lot of people in the UK. I have a lot of people in Australia, in Canada. US is going to be the largest just because in general, but the largest brackets are going to be literally Jamaica is just a shocker to me. But there's a lot of people that message me and that literally are watching from Jamaica.
Yeah, I think the UK is big for us too. I think that's one. It just dawned on me though. I just said that I didn't think anybody would watch this stuff, but people watch like Storage Wars.
Yep.
So I should have put 2 and 2 together back and just, yeah, we could have did this a long time ago, because
Yep.
Storage Wars was huge.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I mean, there's
Wasn't there 2 of
a
them
lot of
though?
them. I mean, look at American Pickers.
Yeah,
There's
that's true
it
too.
doesn't get bigger than American Pickers.
Yeah, and I felt like that was really staged most of the time.
Yeah, I'm sure it was, but it was still fun to see them crawling and getting dirty.
I know. And they actually came around here a couple years ago, but we weren't really doing it the way we were. And I had a subscriber reach out to me to do a private pick at their house, and that's what he thought. He goes, I said, well, what do you have? He said, just think of it as American Pickers. And sure as can be, when I got there, it was this barn out back. He just kept bringing stuff out, and I finally had to stop because I had no more room to fill the car up. But he watched our videos and he knew what we liked, so that's what he kept pulling out, which was perfect.
Yeah, I mean that's the fun side of this.
It is.
I think a lot of the times we as YouTubers lose ourselves because we doubt the things that we're doing. We look at the numbers and the trends and we're like, why are people not finishing the video? Or why are they leaving so early? Or why am I not growing fast enough? And we tend to lose ourselves in that.
Yep.
But I constantly remind myself that though I'm making it so people can watch it, I'm making it because I'm having fun. And I'm doing it the way that I envision it in my head, that I want to run my channel. I want to do things, I watch a lot of different channels and a lot of different things. And granted, there's a lot of things that I borrow and I copy, and but for the most part, I'm doing it the way that I envision it, or what I would appreciate as a show. And it might not be for everybody, and some people might love it, and it just. But I think that a lot of the times we're our biggest critics, because we look at that behind the scenes, and it's like, is this really like growing? Like, is this worth my time? Should I continue doing this? And if we're doing it because we're having fun, then we're having fun.
Yeah, and I thought I have done that too a lot. It's like, wow, why do I keep doing this? But like you just said, it is fun, and we do have a blast. And hey, if it gets to a point where it starts interfering with everything else, then it's a different story.
Right.
And like I said earlier, I might drop it down to a video a week, and hey, that's still not bad. And people want to watch, people can watch.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, you're going to have a lot of different people that watch for a lot of different reasons. I watch how, like, my stepfather watches YouTube, and he tends to watch more like the car shows and like the restorations and the I think Vice Grip Garage is one of them that he like really enjoys, and he literally watches it from beginning to end. He doesn't stop in between. He watches it like he watches a TV show. And then you've got the people that watch your show that watch it YouTube style, which is click, okay, no, click, okay, no, click, And so there's a lot of different people and a lot of different audience out there for a lot of different, perspectives of how you do your channel. So, I've been doing a lot of, I don't know if you do it, but like on your thing, the chapters where you put the time blocks and you specify what it is. So it literally creates a menu where it shows like you can skip through.
I have
like,
not done that yet.
Yeah. So I've been doing that because like on the mobile side, it literally creates like little icons and like shows you like the different areas and stuff that you're in the video. So it makes it easier for people if they just want to watch one section, then that's all they came to see, But
that's interesting. Yeah, I might have to look into that too. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I don't think I've done that yet.
Yeah, just in your description, all you do is you put the time block, so 00, colon 00, and a string, and then underneath it you put the next time block and then a description. And what it does is it uses that to create like a table of contents of your video, and you can literally move through instantly on your timeline. And in your description, you can click on it and it goes right to it. So little things that I've been learning and just kind of trying to see, because some people don't want to see me go through 80 boxes. They just came to see me find the item that I have in my picture.
Correct. And that's what we found out too. A lot of our people who watch, they'd rather just watch. They don't like seeing us go to a yard sale. They rather just see the haul video.
Right. Yep.
So but you have to make everybody. You're never going to make everybody happy if you want to try to make the most of it. So,
right.
Yeah, it's fun. We do have a blast, and that's all that matters. I mean, the kids have fun sometimes too.
And you want me to tell you what's also like for me that I've noticed is I've gotten to know the community of the people that do things behind the scenes, and I learned and I like experience a lot of different things, and I think I've built some friendships around it, and I think that that's what keeps bringing me and keeps driving me. Like I watch you, and I did the show yesterday, and literally there's a whole entire block of people that the Hoogs, and it's just literally I'm all over the place, but I'm literally watching these shows, and it's like I want to say it feels kind of like we're a small community that we're all kind of working with each other and kind of helping each other and kind of encouraging each other, and that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree.
I watched a couple of videos. I think Ed, I don't know if he's still here, but like I watched a couple of his videos where he's like talking through and going through the bins and stuff, and it's like I do that too.
Yeah, we started to try to put some of our outtakes into it, but this whole community I mean, it's crazy what you can learn from everybody. I mean, we have a couple. I know of at least one. It's really near us in Pittsburgh Picker, and we live 8 miles from each other. But we finally, we finally ran into each other at the Amazon bin store. It was kind of cool to finally meet them. It's like you see them on the screen, but you finally actually get to hang out with somebody. But it's just the whole community, the way that everybody helps everybody out is really great. And we didn't know this community existed when we started.
Yeah, right. The same thing with me. I mean, there was a thing, I don't know, maybe a month back. I think it was Prison to Profit that he put together, like a get together between a whole bunch of people. I don't know if you saw that. I would have loved to have gone to that. I didn't even know it was happening, but you know,
oh yeah, he did. Oh, that was his convention down, in South Carolina.
Yeah,
Thank God I didn't go because I tested. I actually got COVID that week, and I was sick. I would have been sick. I would have been down there sick the 2 days of his convention. So
yeah,
I'm glad I didn't go.
That wouldn't have been good.
No,
but I mean, I'm just saying, like, if you look at, like, you know, in most industries, and you know, like, people aren't friendly to each other, that competition, and you know,
correct.
But it's like I tend to see like how people are always pushing and they're always giving good feedback, and you know, they come to these lives and they give feedback or they ask questions, and you know, they learn from you, and then you watch their videos and you learn from them. So it's, you know, that's the cool aspect for me.
Correct. Yeah, it's I totally agree, and I still think there's some people out there that don't want to help, but for the
You're always
most
going
part,
to have them.
Exactly. Everybody, there's some people out there just for themselves, and they're not going to help. But
right.
I mean, Cincinnati Picker did a meetup too. I think it was last year. I think he did. I think he did last year out there, and they had a good turnout too. Same thing. A lot of people went to it, and we thought about trying to get one together up here in Pittsburgh next summer. Hopefully, maybe we'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, don't do it in the winter. Don't do that in the winter.
No, we definitely no. We said the summer because you take the boat out and whatnot, and up here it's just no, not doing. I hate the winter. So
yeah, same. That's why I no longer live in Pennsylvania.
So you were from Pennsylvania?
Yeah, I used to live in State College area.
Okay, yeah. So you guys got So that's a good snow area up there, and yeah, it's right now. I think here it's like 32 out or something. And I hate it. I mean, we actually moved to Maryland for about 7 years. And ever since I moved back, it's like I like the snow if I'm sitting on my couch. If I have to drive in it, I can't stand the snow.
Yep.
And if it's going to snow, I want it to snow enough that the kids can go out and have fun. Yep. That's the way I look at it.
To me, snow is fun. It's one of those things that you literally, like, after 5 minutes of it, it's like it's all over the place. You know, it's like going to the beach, you know, the sand, and you know, it's nice to look at. It's beautiful scenery, and then the moment you go and step in it, it's like, you know.
Yeah, and then it gets all nasty. It gets all dirty from all the salt and the cinders that they're throwing. And it's just not fun. I like when the kids can go out and build a snowman or go sled ride down in our yard. So that's whenever I like it. But if I have to drive in it, I forget it. And that and the ice.
Yeah. Well, down here it's the rain, but what are you going to do?
Yeah, and we get the rain too. But because with us being in Western Pennsylvania, our weather's one day, or we've had all 4 seasons in the same day before here.
Yep.
But that's Pennsylvania for you. So.
Oh yeah, good old PA.
Yep, good old PA. All the road cones and the weather. That's just how it is. But I appreciate you coming by. We usually try to go about an hour, so to not keep everybody for the whole night. So if you just want to tell everybody what you got going on, and like I said, I put your link above. So if you haven't subscribed to him, go subscribe to him. You will not regret it.
So we're basically we're focusing on storage units, and that's our primary focus. We are going to start doing now basically kind of like a beginning to end. We're kind of in the process of planning that out. And that is, as we find furniture, doing the restoration aspect of it, and showing you how you can take a unit that might have been originally X amount of dollars in profit, but if you spend the time doing this, this, and this, and this, you can double or triple that even further. So that's in the works of being done. But I mean, ultimately, we're just having fun. We're just, looking at it from the different perspectives, and trying to show the full picture of what the actual experience of buying storage units is not just what you've seen on like the TV shows, which is like, I bought this unit for $2,000 and I made $5 million. We want to show you the realities of it and basically the entire process, how we price things, how we find things, how we post things, and I've got a few different videos that I'm working on as we speak that are like teaching you the technical side of things behind the scenes, because that's my specialty, and how to drive traffic to your channel and how to work with the search engines, the SEOs, and those types of things. So a couple of different, scenarios and things, but for the most part, it's focused on storage units, going through it and the entire business basically from beginning to end.
I can't wait for those videos to come out because I need to figure out this algorithm. So
yeah, algorithm's fun, brother.
Yeah, you can't. Once you think you have it figured out, you don't. It just keeps.
No, they change it constantly. It's got to keep you on your toes.
Keep you guessing. So,
yeah.
But I do appreciate you coming by, and hopefully I can reach out in the future, and if I got a question on a unit. So,
yeah, anytime, message me. I'm always here, and that goes for everybody out there too.
Perfect. Sounds good. Well, thanks for coming by, and thanks to everybody for stopping by tonight. And